What's up, guys? I'm joined here with a healthcare administrator who is doing 4,800 every 30 days in sales on Amazon, selling used books and DVDs. And in today's podcast, we're going to ask him how he did it and hopefully help you do the same.
Welcome to the Amazon Savages podcast. Hear the stories of Amazon sellers crushing it in the game and keep up with the latest strategies that are working. Sit back, relax, and remember, if you truly try and work really hard, you will make a ridiculous amount of money selling on Amazon.
But you got to put the work in. You actually got to try. That's what Matt did. And he's here now. And tell us how you got to 4,800 in sales, man, and how you doing today?
Good, Avery. Thanks. Excited to join the ranks of the Amazon Savages here.
Yep.
So just to give you, kind of my origin story. I work full time. I'm in healthcare administration. I run a program for senior citizens, and I do books, DVDs, pretty much anything that I can flip on Amazon is kind of a part-time hobby thing. Working a lot of nights, weekends, but again, as a hobby, I have fun with it.
Mm-hmm.
I started probably just about a year ago now, really seriously getting into reselling. I've been kind of flipping stuff on eBay for many years now. I started with my interest in video games, retro games, which there's lots of money in, but it's very competitive. I'd pick those things up, sell them on eBay, things like that. And then about a year ago, I stumbled onto Rakin's YouTube, actually, just kind of looking for other ideas of things to flip on eBay. And he started kind of talking about books a lot and books on Amazon and how all that works. So from there, I really kind of got interested in that, started digging in, and I signed up for an account. Took like a month for everything to come together there. So if you guys are thinking about signing up for Amazon, start early on that because they ask for a lot of info and it's a lot of waiting.
Go to sell.amazon.com.
Yeah, it's a process for sure, which is kind of a good thing because it keeps people that aren't serious out of there. You really got to be serious just to get through that hump.
Mm-hmm.
So my first submission to Amazon was actually in January of this year. It was a retail arbitrage experiment. I picked up some Mensch on a Bench dolls from Walmart, which is, if you don't know, kind of the Hanukkah version of Elf on a Shelf. And my Walmart just had like 7 or 8 of these things, and they were clearance for like $6, something like that. Going on Amazon for I think around 32 at that time. So nothing huge, but it seemed like a good experiment. I probably knew nothing about sales rank at the time, so I might have gotten lucky on this one. But I sent them in. They sold pretty much instantly, even in January, as far away from Hanukkah as you could get. So from there, I got everything signed up with my scanning apps, my listing apps, all that kind of stuff. I'm a huge Go-to-Lister fan. So if I start waxing poetic about Go-to-Lister, it's Avery's not paying me. I just love it.
Not yet. I have to send you some tips after this.
I need some swag is what I need. I got to get one of those shirts.
Might have to send you a little extra restricted inventory payment next month.
Yeah, I'll take it. Yep. Love restricted inventory too. But anyways, where was I? I from there,
you were listing, you got all your software set up, and you started with a little bit of retail arbitrage.
Yeah. And I should mention, my wife is kind of my business partner, particularly with scanning. I kind of do all the hard work, but she has her own scanning app, and we go out and.
Hey, that's the money making. That's the money making part of the business. I always tell people like sourcing is a multi-$100 per hour skill.
Yeah.
Whereas listing is about a $20 per hour skill if you're in California, about a $12 per hour skill if you're here in Tennessee. You should, in my opinion, you should list as quickly as possible because it makes you the least amount of money. It's necessary. It's essential. If you don't do it, you're not going to make the money. But really, like where the money is made is like if you're a talented sourcer, you're able to find the good product. I mean, you can get to the point where you're like, no joke, making like 10 grand an hour, like at scale. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like if you get really good at making good purchasing decisions, like you make the money when you purchase. So don't discredit the wife for going out and sourcing.
No, I believe me, it's a huge advantage having 2 of us, especially like a library sale.
For sure. Yeah.
But having 2 of us just we just take over. It's pretty awesome. So very much appreciate her for doing that. And she has a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
So we were, as far as I can tell, I live in a pretty rural community. As far as I can tell, we were the first to really get out there and do this in our community, because the first time we went out to every thrift store in the county, like we just cleared out just dozens of books at every place. They were just kind of sitting there waiting for us. Flash forward to now, they're all pretty scraped clean, mostly by me and my wife, but there's a couple other folks that are kind of starting to dabble into it, thanks to you and Rakin kind of blowing up the scene here. But
people come and go.
Yeah, absolutely.
I went out and I went to the Nashville Public Library here, and I went to a Goodwill. One Goodwill, they wouldn't let me in because I had this camera guy following me, and they wouldn't let me in. And then the next one, they were chill. And it actually wasn't a very good Goodwill, but like the whole purpose of my YouTube video was like, if you guys scan a few thousand books a day, you're going to make money, even if the sources suck. And this source sucked. But I still walked out with half a box of books because I literally scanned 1,500 of the books on the shelf. I was just like, I'm going to scan all of these. And my camera guy was recording me. He's like, dude, this is a boring ass video. I'm like, I know. This is the point. I want to show them that if you just scan 1,500 books, I scanned the children's section. I scanned every section. And then we went to a library here. I won't even say the name of it because I don't want people to know about it. I would just say Nashville Public Library. So one of them in the area. But I did tell someone on YouTube, if you go watch my last YouTube video, there's a guy that I met, Lashar, and I told him about this source, and he went to it. And then I went to it probably 2 weeks later. That was yesterday. And I still walked out of there with 2 full boxes of books. I probably had a 7% acceptance rate, and I ended my day with about $500 in profit.
Beautiful.
And I'm just like, dang, like, nobody's doing anything.
Yeah.
You know, like the opportunity is there, and people just don't want to put the work in. Like I was manually looking up all the barcode books. I was scanning like a savage. Like my blood sugar at the end of the day, like this always happens when I scan books for some reason, but I'm like, oh, I feel like shit right now. Like about, a couple hours in, I'm like, this sucks. Like the first couple hours are fun, but the last couple hours are like, oh my God. Like, but you're making like $100, $200 an hour. And so you can't complain, and it's like, my point was if you scan a lot of books, I probably scanned 1,500 to 2,000 books that day and made $500 in profit. And it's like,
that's what it's all about. It's just a numbers game. You got to get in there, scan everything. I've fallen into little ruts where I start thinking I can sort of spot the good shelf and kind of skip some others. And that's just really not the way to go if you want to maximize your time and your profit. Because I still look at the books that I collect all the time. And like, I never would have guessed that would be profitable.
I know. That's like, it's actually great advice. Like I actually made a pretty stupid post the other day of like what books not to scan. And I think I put 4 dummies books, and then I literally found a dummies book that was profitable.
There's one that's really profitable.
Really?
Something about like starting a small business. I think I can't remember exactly, but yeah, one of them is crazy profitable.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Did you see that $12,000 profit book I posted on Facebook yesterday?
No, I don't think I did.
Yeah. So it was a $12,000 profit. Obviously it's not that profitable, but it did sell for $75 in the past. And so some people, they scan and they see $12,000 profit and they're like, oh, this is just a fluke. The app's messing up. But really, like, go look at the Keepa, and I saw that I could probably sell it for $150, I bet. So we'll see how that goes.
I see people get excited a lot when they're like, look at this $1,000 book, and it's just 2 of the merchant fulfilled listings that have been there for 20 years.
Yeah, there's a high chance you can probably sell it for $50.
Yeah, right. It still could be profitable for sure if you're coming in at 50 and everyone's at 1,000.
Exactly. What's the number one piece of advice you can give to a beginner that wants to make $4,800 a month in sales like you?
Scanning everything again is the most important part. Really looking outside of, I think when everyone starts, they kind of hit the thrift stores because that's kind of the safest place to scan and not feel like you're going to get called out or something, which is another lesson learned. Don't be a shy scanner. Just do it. Nobody cares. It's just people ask what I'm doing sometimes, but I've never had anyone be like, wow, I can't believe you're taking advantage of these people or whatever. No one cares. So scan everything. Don't be shy about it. That's the easiest way I know someone's brand new to scanning is when they're kind of ducked down and turning around so no one can see what they're doing. Just go in there, scan it all, do it whatever way is quickest and easiest and most comfortable. And then, as I was saying, just kind of reaching out beyond those thrift stores. I do probably my most sourcing at yard sales, estate sales. When you find a beautiful estate sale that's just heaping full of books or DVDs, you just clean up like nobody's business. It's everything is so undervalued on the local level. Generally, books and DVDs are $1 a piece, and it's just amazing what you can find out there. So getting into those, I've actually just started on a venture where I'm reaching out to a lot of the junk hauling companies for folks that do, they clean out rental abatements and all kinds of things. Somebody dies and doesn't have any relatives to take these things. And I just said, hey, I buy books and DVDs. So if you run into anything, let me know. Already I've had one of those reach out to me, and she said she has hundreds of books, and she'll be glad to get them over to me. So I don't even think she's going to charge me. She was, my listing says I buy DVDs and books. I will sell a small percentage of them. The rest will be donated. And she seemed to kind of just glom onto the charitable piece of it, which is donating them back into the community. So that could be really cool. Still kind of working on that. But yeah, just looking outside the usual places, especially in cities with a lot of competition. Going to Goodwill every day. It could dry up pretty quickly. You're going to have competition. So trying to swim upstream, find those avenues that other people aren't using. I haven't personally gotten into any like backroom access type of stuff yet.
Yep.
But I know that's a huge thing for people that face a lot of competition.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Libraries, for me at least, I feel like libraries are kind of easier to get backroom access because they really want to move the books because they get so many donations that if somebody's like, hey, can I buy more books? They're like, yes. Yep. Whereas with Goodwill, it can be a little political and they're like, we're not allowed to do this, corporate, blah, blah, blah. But generally like the smaller the place, the more likely you are to get backroom access. But it's always worth a shot. Like you should always ask. And even if you can't get backroom access, sometimes they have carts in the back at Goodwill or Salvation Army that they can roll out for you. And if you can get those carts rolled out, I would offer to like help organize the books or even shelf the books for them or categorize them. And, they'll love you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Goodwill is kind of interesting. I'm sure you've seen this. Some of the Goodwills are scanning books themselves now.
Yeah. They've been doing that
stuff for themselves. Yeah. I've in my travels, I've sort of found the ones that aren't doing that and found the ones that are doing that. One of my ideas that I'll never get around to executing is like kind of a crowdsourced map of all the Goodwills that do not scan because they are all over the place, but you don't know until somebody goes in and checks them out.
Yeah. So. And that's another reason, like sometimes I scan the books just to find the non-barcode books. So like I'll be scanning crazy fast and I'm like, oh, non-barcode book. This has a like 50% chance higher likelihood of being a good book. So I take it off the shelf. I put it on the bottom shelf, cover up so I can just scan it with the Amazon seller app. Yeah. And I get about 10 of those per section, maybe more. And then at the end, like, okay, it's like, okay, I've filtered through all the books. I've scanned all of them. I've gotten whatever is left. Maybe Goodwill scanned them. Maybe 5 resellers already scanned them. But I guarantee you, most people have not looked up these barcode books. So now these barcode books are essentially raw inventory that I can go through.
Yep.
And I always find a higher acceptance rate with those.
So you're saying that the Goodwills, even the ones that scan, aren't necessarily bothered.
They're not going to look at the non-barcode books. They're not doing that. That's and like I went to one in Seattle one time, and this is before I did jiu-jitsu, and there was this jiu-jitsu book that I scanned that was $250. And the Goodwill sold. It was Seattle Goodwill. You can see them on Amazon.
Oh yeah.
And I picked it up for $250 and I sold it for $250. The keeper was steady. And I'm like, they're obviously not doing their job. And I paid $8 for the book too. So like a lot of people, number one, wouldn't have gone to that Goodwill because they sell on Amazon. Yep. Number two, a lot of resellers are too cheap to pay $8 for a book. But it's like, you're going to pay $8 for a book that's going to sell for $250 and probably make you $200. It's going to make you at least $200 profit.
Yeah.
What are you complaining about?
Yeah. Right.
Those are great margins. And some booksellers, they just aren't willing to spend the money. And I think they need to get over that.
Yeah, I think it's easy to get into a lull of spending $1 and turning it into 20, but it works the same. The higher you go, if you can spend 8 and make 200, that works too.
I think as a bookseller, you should have a books listed goal each month, whether that's 100, 500, 1,000, probably somewhere between 400 and 600 starting out should be your goal. But as you scale, your goal should turn into spend. So once you graduate from books to other categories, online arbitrage, wholesale, then your goal should be, okay, I want to spend 10 grand this month. All right, now I want to spend 50 grand. All right, let's see if I can spend 100 grand this month. And it sounds crazy, but pretty soon you'll be there if you just consistently roll the money back in.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because you're with books and DVDs, your barrier is really finding inventory. Being able to find it. With OA, your barrier is how much money can I throw at this, because you have
and when you get doing those things wholesale, you don't care if you're listing 1,500 units or you don't care if you're listing 500 units. What you care about is how much am I spending and how much of it is likely going to come back to me. Whereas with books, generally the inventory is so cheap, it's like, let's just get as many of these in so I can get my bank account up. You know?
Yeah, you take a lot more risks with the books when it costs you $1 and set it up to liquidate if it doesn't work out. It's a pretty low risk proposition to make some money.
What are the best types of books or DVDs to sell?
So I'll break these down separately. My categories for books would be obviously textbooks, is kind of where it all starts. Anything that you can send in that's not invoice gated, you can do that. We've got restricted inventory and other avenues for.
Grind hard, well done, sir, and welcome to the freaking Well Show.
I triggered an ad. I'm so happy. Yeah, restricted inventory. Send your McGraw-Hill education and some of the other annoying ones that you just never get through to.
Yeah, and I like to preface this with logically think about it. Don't just send a restricted inventory, because look at what you could sell it for on eBay and look to see if it actually sells on eBay. Go to eBay sold items and see, does this textbook actually have proof of sales? Because some of them don't. But if it does sell, how much would you make there? Go to bookscouter.com and look at all the vendors, Valor Books, Sell Back Your Book, see what they're offering for the book. And then thirdly, go to restrictedinventory.com and see what you would make if you were to send it to restricted inventory and we were to sell it for you at the 50-50 split. And whichever of those is the highest one, just go with that. Just logically think about it that way.
Yep. Absolutely. So anyways, textbooks obviously are very good, very competitive. One of my favorite categories is kind of that new age, like spiritual, metaphysical, it's kind of meditation. And
it's funny. That's just what our last guest said. I just interviewed Eric and he was saying the same thing.
Yeah, they're so hot. When I find a stack of those, I get pretty excited because I know it's going to be 50% accept rate. Because I think really the backbone of this is you're looking for information that's not necessarily readily available on the internet. So anything where there's a lot of kind of individual thought and techniques, things like that.
I also think there's a lot of status to be had in the spiritual community with spiritual books. So if you have a bunch of spiritual books at your house, you're probably a really spiritual, enlightened, super woke person. You want to show that to your friends when they walk in, look how spiritual I am.
Yeah. It's true. It's a status symbol. Regular religious stuff does pretty well. Philosophy does really well. Self-help. Really the common thread here is the nonfiction stuff. But I also think that as underrated categories go, sci-fi can be really good. I find a lot of Star Wars hardcovers, Babylon 5, stuff like that, it seems like it's either a nothing and you'll lose money sending it in, or it's $100 profit. It's one or the other. So I always make sure to check out any kind of licensed IPs with sci-fi, Star Wars, Star Trek, Babylon 5, Dungeons and Dragons is a huge one. Anytime you see those, that's a good sign. Magic the Gathering, all that kind of stuff. And then a recent revelation for me has been sheet music books, which I think are great because they're even cheaper than regular books. They're usually like $0.25, and nobody is scanning those. And I find good stuff in there all the time. They're super light, so the kind of fee threshold is low. They're just available everywhere. They have to be fairly modern. There's a lot of old stuff out there. A lot of them don't even have ISBNs or anything, so it can be pretty tough to kind of figure out what you're dealing with. But if you can find some semi-modern sheet music, that can be really profitable.
Nice.
Moving into DVDs, I have some sort of like guiding principles that I use for DVDs, some rules. Essentially, and it's kind of probably a way for me to speed things up because I am part-time, so I don't have all day to scan every DVD everywhere I go. But the first rule is if you've heard of it, you can probably skip it. If it's something like a Jim Carrey movie or I don't know, some other examples. Sex and the City, the movie, I see 800 copies of that everywhere I go. That kind of stuff is not what's going to be profitable on Amazon. Those things are all $6 shipped to your house. But something that's more, I guess, enthusiast focused, like Criterion Collection, Westerns, TV series, of course. And then my favorites are the British stuff like Acorns and BBC. What I've kind of noticed is the DVDs that do really well are things that the older population would appreciate. So like if it's something your grandparents would like, that's a good sign that might be a profitable DVD. PBS is another good one. Any kind of special interest, concerts, opera, stuff like that, I've done really well on.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Yeah.
What about Blu-rays?
I haven't had as much luck with Blu-rays. They essentially kind of have the same criteria for me. I generally like the concert Blu-rays, opera Blu-rays. Of course, any kind of complete TV series Blu-rays you find are going to be great. But I don't know what it is. It seems like the Blu-rays for me, I just don't get the accept rate with those that I do with DVDs. I know I've heard other people that have kind of the opposite experience. So I don't know if it's just what I'm finding or what.
What about CDs?
I don't really mess with CDs. I've probably submitted maybe 10 the entire time I've been doing Amazon. Kind of my beef with CDs is the cases are always cracked. A lot of them are like the BMG Record Club, so you're not going to barcode scan them real quickly. Their barcodes don't work on Amazon, so you're having to do a lot of cover scans. And the accept rate is just so low that I don't really find it worth my time personally. If I was a full-time reseller, I'd probably find some time to dig into those now and again. But I tend to steer clear unless like I run into a free stack or something, and then I might.
And what are you using to scan the DVDs?
I use Scoutly for all my scanning needs.
And so every scan, you're getting a yes or no decision on?
Yeah. And then I'm at a point now where I can evaluate it a little bit deeper than that. If I see it's not quite profitable, but there's no FBA offers, no new offers, then maybe I can get a little prime bump there and make it work. So a little bit of head math involved, but
Speaking
generally
of FBA offers, when you list your inventory, are you using GoToLister's feature for checking if there's no FBA offers? And then
absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. That's one of my favorite things about GoToLister easily is just the algorithm kind of figuring out at least what area of the price I want to be in so that I don't have to sit there and do all that analysis on each item. So much faster. And I will kind of make a mental note when I find something that has no offers, and GoToLister tells you when it has no offers.
That was like my pet peeve back when I would source at this bookstore for like 4 hours a day, and a big percentage of my books were only profitable because they had no FBA offers. So if I was just to match the lowest price, it might land at $9. But in my head, I'm like, oh, there's no FBA. I could price this for $25 and get the sale. But then I would get home and I would use the current listing software I was using at the time, and it would match buy box price. My repricer wouldn't know what to price it at. And so what I would do is I would have a separate box and I would write no FBA offers on the box. And so I would put all the books with no FBA offers and I would list them separately because I knew how to price them manually. And so that's why with GoToLister, we programmed it so when you list an item, it actually turns it purple when there's no FBA offers. And we do price it 20% higher automatically for you. But even then, that's oftentimes not as much as you should be pricing it up. And so it turns it purple and it's like, hey, you should probably price this higher. So what we do before we submit every batch is go through, click all the ones that are purple and see if it's like 100,000 ranked book and the lowest price is $10 and there's no FBA offers, Like, honestly, you could probably sell that for $30,
Yeah.
$29.99 and get
Yeah.
the sale. And you
Yeah.
just like literally like 10 extra profit just because you took note that there's no FBA offers. And Amazon doesn't want us to have information like this. That's why they limit what the API can see for Scoutly, Scout IQ. Go to every software out there has limited information, but at least at Go To Lister, we say, hey, there is limited information. There's no FBA offers. You should probably price it higher.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Yeah, it's great. And people that are buying on Amazon want it now. They don't want to wait for Goodwill Seattle to ship it a week from now. So
exactly.
the
Yeah, so
FBA
you're providing value by allowing the people to pay a premium to get fast shipping. So don't feel bad about pricing higher.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's a secret you've learned that's helped you grow your Amazon business?
I think the biggest thing that I would caution to any new resellers is really dig into learning not only the data that shows in Scout IQ and Scoutly, but making sure you understand the triggers, or if nothing else, finding somebody that can give you some good triggers. I don't think the default triggers in either scanning app are very helpful these days, because I haven't used them in a while, but I think they show and accept at like $2 or $3 profit. And maybe that makes sense for beginners. I'd be interested to hear your take on that.
I think it makes sense if it's free inventory, meaning inventory that you already have in your living room. You're not going to pay for it. But I personally would not pay $1 for something that's only going to bring me 3. I want at least 4 generally. So I'm with you.
I think with the way the Amazon dynamic pricing works, you're going to lose as often as you win with a $2 profit book.
Yeah.
I look at I have my SKUs set up to show me what I initially priced a book at and then what my repricer sells it at. And you often lose several dollars in that translation. So I think you're just going to end up losing sending in $2 profit stuff. I've had a couple of cases early on where I was actually paying Amazon to sell a book for me. I was getting 25 cents. I was paying Amazon $1.48 to sell this book for me that I sent them, a month ago. So really making sure you get good triggers that will give you a reliable profit. But again, maybe for beginners, it makes sense to send in some of that really fast moving, lower profit stuff, because you do want to keep working towards the buy box and get all that good stuff going. You don't want to just send in a bunch of slow moving things. And
I'm with you, man. I think raising those bottom triggers, I've been saying that for years. Like, people complain, Amazon's getting so much harder. There's removal fees, long-term storage fees. And like, honestly, the solution to all this is just send in better, higher profit books. Stop sending in that lower echelon of books that are going to lose you money. They're going to cost you removal fees. They're going to cost you long-term storage fees. Cut all those out. And it's a non-issue. Like, once you do that, it's the same game that it was 10 years ago. But it's really difficult for bulk people who were sending in hundreds of thousands of 50-cent profit books that are now a liability, because when they have to remove 10,000 books from their inventory, now they have to pay 20 grand. Whereas before they would only have to pay 2,500. It's a different game. But like, if you just run the numbers, like Caleb Roth, the book flipper, years ago, he did some experiment where he found out that this bulk bookseller who was doing millions a year, 40% of their inventory, which was inventory that was really cheap, it was like under $12, was only responsible for like 3% of their gross profit or net profit. And so his advice to that bookseller was like, hey, why don't you just cut out this 40%? And so your team, you could even cut your team in half. Now you don't have to send in, let's say they're sending in 100,000 books a month. Now you only have to send in 60,000 a month. You cut out 40,000 books. You can let some people off. You don't have to pay as much for prep, for having employees. You don't have to, and then like, you can literally shrink your operation and your gross sales will go down, but your net profit would remain the same, and you're not doing as much work. And so same answer today, when people complain about removal and long-term storage fees, it's like, just send in better, higher selling inventory.
Yep. That's the goal. So I think I'm actually, it's kind of a funny story. I think my triggers currently are set to a $7 minimum profit. And I had switched my wife to that, those same triggers when I did it. And she started getting very annoyed that she wasn't getting all the green scans anymore. So I think she's mostly in it for the endorphin rush of finding those green accepts.
Yeah, it does feel good.
Yeah, it feels good. So I've lowered her triggers. I think she's at 4 or 5, something like that. And it's, sometimes we end up with things that are less than ideal, but when you're buying a book for $1, DVD for $1, it's worth it to keep her happy and excited about it.
Exactly.
Happy scouting. Yeah.
What's the biggest failure that you've had on Amazon, and what did you learn from that experience?
Man, I sent a box over 50 pounds once, and Amazon just lost their minds over it. I get little nasty notes all the time, like, oh, some inventory item didn't match up with your manifest or what. I can't remember the terminology, but essentially you forget to put a book in or something. Do not ever send the box in that weighs 50.1 pounds, or they will lose their mind. Like, they suspend your account until you acknowledge it. It's a whole thing. I think I was suspended for like 5 minutes because you just have to say, I won't do it again. But that's probably not the biggest failure. I think probably the biggest failure was just jumping into things too quickly in terms of not learning how to analyze the scouting app datas, not really understanding that something I was sending in. Sometimes things look profitable, but they don't actually end up being realistic. Either it's got too low of a sales rank, or a lot of times there's one person with an unrealistic price in the FBA section, and your scouting app will show you that, when there's also 800 copies at $5 in the merchant fulfilled. So you kind of have to do some head math there when you're looking at your numbers and kind of realize, would any normal human being pay 800% more for this book than they would just to get it from the merchant fulfilled side, otherwise known as tanked books. So looking at tanked books and knowing what that means. I'm sure I sent in just hundreds and hundreds of bad books early on. I feel like I've got it pretty dialed in now.
Nice. That's good.
Yeah.
What's a common myth about selling on Amazon?
Well, a lot of people jump in as a sort of a get rich quick sort of a venture. And I think you put a YouTube short out like last week or something about you have to be willing to work for free for a while.
Yeah.
You're not going to get paid the first month on Amazon, no matter how many books you sell in that you bring in that first month. You're not going to get paid right away. Everything's going to get eaten by fees and your professional account subscription, all that kind of stuff. So you really have to kind of believe in the grind and just stick with it. Realize that you're finding good inventory and sending it in consistently. I think I started getting payments after my second month, probably, if I had to guess. Very small, of course, and then it grows from there. But it could be, I've heard anywhere from 2 months to 22 months for people to get buy box eligibility. And it's unpredictable, and we don't get to decide when that happens. So you really have to just grind until you get that. And that's kind of where everything changes in terms of your sales, and consistently pulling a decent check to make it worth your while.
Right. In your opinion, what's the most important personality trait / strength someone would need to be successful as an Amazon seller?
Definitely just determination. It is a lot of work. I know you guys always joke about people calling it passive income because it is a lot of work. It's passive once you get everything sent to FBA, but the lead up to that is hours and hours of work. Lugging 50-pound boxes, not an ounce over 50 pounds, but lugging those over the UPS. It's work. It's work for sure. So if you're part-time like me, you have to actually enjoy doing it. I don't need to do it to pay my bills, but I just enjoy doing it. I like having the extra income, saving up money for vacations or whatever it might be. So determination, and then an outgoing personality definitely helps, because you want to be able to make those relationships with the library store or the thrift stores. You want to be able to make deals with somebody selling a bunch of DVDs at a yard sale, get the best possible deals.
Right. Last question. What tools do you use for your Amazon business?
Go to Lister. That's all I need. No, go to Lister. I use, let's see, what else do I have? Scoutly. I have my little ring scanner. Yeah, which I enjoy. I actually was doing on my camera phone for a while. When I switched to Scoutly, I started thinking that was faster, but I don't think it's faster. I think it's definitely worth having a barcode scanner.
I actually have been experimenting a lot with that.
Yeah.
I can see how if you have a wrist strap with your phone,
Yeah.
also, or a ring scanner, I guess. But man, I've been blazing through books just with my phone on speed mode.
Yeah, it's definitely fast. I
take credit for I take 100% credit for that feature because Scoutly copies everything Scout IQ does.
I know.
5 years ago, I mentioned that to Caleb when I first met him. I'm like, dude, I hate it when my scanner dies when I'm out and I have to scan each book and then click on the camera icon again. Why don't you just leave it so we can just see the profit at the top and we can scan as fast as we want?
Oh, so quick mode was your thing.
Speed mode, yeah. What do they call it? Quick mode over at Scoutly?
I don't know what to call it. Probably, yeah. They have to change it just
so
a little.
Funny. Scout IQ. Man, I'm going to call Scoutly out for what they do. They literally copied Scout IQ's whole UI.
Yeah.
They literally changed their name from FBA Scan to Scoutly, which is competition Scout IQ. Scout IQ made eScore first, then Scoutly hopped on. But I guess Scoutly's counter argument is we were there first. We first had the app, and so you copied us by also making a book selling app. So
right.
But they both innovated the market, and but they just cracked me up. Tom or whatever his name is, he is a character for no shame. Just copies everything, like almost to the point where I feel like a lawsuit could occur. Like the UI is literally like,
right.
I don't even know that's legal. Like I did not do that. I guess you could say with my listing software, I definitely got influence from other people in the space, but I did not full on copy someone's UI like that.
You guys have a lot of innovations that just didn't exist.
But then at the same time, if I was the first listing software ever, and then another listing software came out with a beautiful UI, like Scout IQ did, I mean, I might just be like, oh, they copied me. Let me like make a beautiful UI too. So I actually kind of do see a little bit of reason, like if you take it from the perspective of we were here first, but it's still pretty comical to me.
When's Go to Lister getting in the scanning game?
Hey, we were just talking about that in the last pod. I actually don't have intentions, but we might. We do want a mobile app because my vision is this: with Go to Lister, I want to be the best listing software, and we're coming out with replin reports soon, which is going to be really big for OA and wholesalers. So you'll be able to open up your phone and see what items you should replenish. And so that's my goal, is like Caleb and Tom have already done a great job of making a good scouting app for the community. Do I think it could be better? I think there's a few things that could be better, but I think there's so much improvement to be had with listing softwares when it comes to, inventory reports. What should you replenish? And then like even stuff like AI, like what for OA people, what types of products should you be buying based on the products you've sold? And I just think they could be doing a lot better job. So I'm fixing a problem in the community. I don't want to create a crappier version of Scout IQ or Scoutly. Like if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it big. But let me show you real quick. Because right now we're super mobile friendly. Not a lot of people know it, but on Go to Lister, you can actually pull it up on your phone. And check your sales and check your batches and stuff. So right here, if you look on the screen. So just creating a mobile app that shows you like basically the same information. And then we also want to optimize for prep centers and really give you like a true inventory valuation. So how much inventory is on the way to the prep center, how much inventory is at the prep center, how much inventory is on the way to Amazon. And so really just help revolutionize the way that you look at your inventory. And like most OA wholesale people, they lose like 10 grand in inventory a year for every few $100,000 they do. And so just kind of like helping them capitalize on that. Maybe they could get money back from some type of insurance for items lost by the prep center. They can definitely get money back for items sent to Amazon that were lost. Like you should already be using like seller investigators or refunds manager or Jatita, something like that. And so I just think there's a lot of potential there. And so
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not going to make a watered down version of something just to capitalize on it, unless like I do have some really good ideas for a better scouting app. But right now it's just me and Dom, my developer, and
Yep.
we're working really hard on GoToLister, and we kind of have our trajectory and roadmap. So
yeah,
right there.
That Dom's a genius. You found a good one.
And also Scout IQ has been super kind to integrate with restricted inventory. So look, check this out. I'll put this on the screen. Oh, other way. How do I move my finger that way? Look at this. The bottom right-hand corner, I'm sure you guys have noticed, you use Scout IQ. We show you how much profit you would make if you sent to restricted inventory. So that's, I'm grateful for Scout IQ for
it's very cool.
And that's actually Caleb's fault. Like years ago, we were going to do it together. And then when he sold Scout IQ, he told them, hey, make sure to get this integration done. So shout out to him
glad they pulled it off. Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on, man. It was a pleasure having you here.
Yeah, I appreciate it. A lot of fun.
Where can people find you? Do you have any socials, or are you just?
No, not really. I'm on Amazon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Are you in the Facebook groups at all?
Yeah, I am in the Facebook groups. I'm in Raken's. I'm in your GoToLister support group. So
cool.
I do chime in.
Get up there, guys. If you want to connect with Matt, go in the GoToLister support group or any of Steve's Facebook groups. And thanks so much for coming on. You're an inspiration to everyone watching.
Thank you. Appreciate it.